NASCAR heads at LA Coliseum that kicked off the 2023 season. We see a lot of crashes, a lot of controversy, a lot of tempers flaring, and a driver picking up the first victory of the 75th season. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. I just got done watching NASCAR Cup Series race from the LA Coliseum, the 2023 Busch Light Clash. Let's go ahead and talk about it. So, let's begin by talking about practice. Let's go through the heat race. We'll go through heat races first, and then we will go ahead and go through basically all of the main races. So, let's go through heat race number one first. So, Justin Haley won the pole for the event in general, so he was on the pole in heat number one and was able to get the lead early. First caution lead would come out on lap number 2 to the Harrison Burton, basically spinning out from 4th position. Again, caution laps did not count, so we would restart on lap number 3. On the restart, see Justin Haley get the lead, and Alex Bowman tried to get up there and get the lead, but Justin Haley held on. Then around 5 or 6 laps ago in the second heat of the race, Eric Almirola was able to get the lead, and he was able to pull away and win heat number 1. Alex Bowman finished second, Justin Haley would finish third, Eric Almirola fourth would be Noah Gragson, and Joey Logano would all transfer to the main event. And heat race number 2 had Kyle Busch lead the field from the inside with Austin Dillon on the outside, and we saw Kyle Busch being able to get the race lead. Meanwhile, Mark Truex eventually caught Kyle Busch and was able to get the lead and take over the lead. The first caution, heat 2, would come out after some contact between Kevin Harvick and Austin Cindric, and Kevin Harvick unfortunately spun Austin Cindric after that contact. So we go back green on lap 21 on the restart with Mark Truex Jr. being the race leader in heat number 2, and we basically saw a lot of contact happening where Chase Elliott basically got into Austin Cindric, and we had to restart it. We basically stayed at green. Then near the end, you had contact between Stenhouse and Chase Elliott. Kevin Harvick became the closer like he's always been, and was able to get the last transfer spot, but Mark Truex Jr. would win heat number 2. Kyle Busch finished second, Austin Dillon finished third, Kyle Larson fourth, and Kevin Harvick finished fifth, meaning that he would go ahead and transfer. Then we go to heat number 3 with Christopher leading the field from the outside with Denny Hamlin on the inside, and then Christopher got the race lead on the start. Then eventually Denny Hamlin had a better car and got around Christopher Bell for the race lead. First caution would come out about on lap number 19 for Daniel Suarez basically getting spun and actually spinning Brad Keselowski, bringing out the caution. Then we go back green. It was a little more controversy. Basically, Christopher Bell a couple laps later got spun by Todd Gilliland, and then went back green for the final runs of heat number 3, and Denny Hamlin held off a hard-charging Chase Briscoe to basically go on and win it. So then Denny Hamlin won the heat, Chase Briscoe got second, Todd Reddick finished third, Ryan Blaney fourth, and Daniel Suarez would all transfer. And then we get to the final heat of the race where William Byron led the field from the inside with A.J. Allmendinger on the outside, and William Byron was able to hold the lead. Then eventually you had Bubba Wallace and Ryan Preece really driving up to the front, and their cars looked really strong on the long runs and got up there. It would basically be a straightforward heat with William Byron dominating and winning it, with Bubba Wallace finishing second, who had a fast car, Ross Chastain finishing third, who advances, Ryan Preece fourth, and Eric Jones would all transfer. Now we go to the last chance qualifiers, where Michael McDowell would lead for the last chance qualifier on the inside with Christopher Bell on the outside. At the start, Michael McDowell pretty much just pulled away and completely dominated and was able to pull away and win the qualifier. Second place would end up going to Christopher Bell, and then Todd Gilliland would end up finishing third, and all three would transfer, meaning that Harrison Burton, Brad Keselowski, Ty Dillon, Chris Buescher, and the 15 of J.J. Elliott would all unfortunately fail to make the main. Then we get to last chance qualifier number 2 with Chase Elliott leading the field from the inside with Ty Gibbs on the outside, and Chase Elliott was able to get the lead and was able to hold the lead. Then Ty Gibbs was really trying to catch Chase Elliott, but traffic kind of played a factor. Ty Gibbs tried to get around Chase Elliott, but was not able to, and he was able to go out and hold off Ty Gibbs to win the last chance qualifier. The other two drivers transferring in were Ty Gibbs and A.J. Allmendinger. So now after all that happened, let's go to the main event, and this main event was absolutely nuts. So at the start of the race, had Eric Almirola lead the field from the inside with Mark Truex Jr. on the outside. Basically, I think he had a caution in the first couple laps of the race, but basically Eric Almirola held the lead and dominated early. Then we basically saw Denny Hamlin really starting to drive straight forward, and we started seeing some lap cars come into play. First caution, I believe, actually came out on lap 16 for Eric Jones, who spun from 21st after some contact from Michael McDowell, and unfortunately broke the toe link. I think this took Eric Jones completely out of the race. Then on the restart, Eric Almirola lead the field from the outside with Denny Hamlin on the inside, and Denny Hamlin was able to lead the lap, but Eric Almirola was right there, and basically he got screwed over on the restart because of the juice cone situation, because they didn't give him any notifications, so he had no choice but to restart on the outside and didn't give any heads up or warning about it. And then we kept going for a while. Almirola fell all the way back to 6th position. And then you had a situation where Ryan Blaney got spun by Chase Elliott on turn number 4. Bunch of cars got involved. Chase Elliott, Chase Briscoe, Ty Gibbs, and Daniel Suarez are all involved in the wreck. Chase Elliott getting a lot of damage. Ryan Blaney getting a lot of damage. So on the restart, Denny Hamlin lead the field from the inside with Kyle Busch on the outside, and Denny Hamlin was able to clear for the race lead. The third caution race to come on lap 42 for A.J. Allmendinger, who spun off contact from Todd Gilliam, bringing out the caution once again. And then went back green in lap 43 with Denny Hamlin leading the field from the inside with Bubba Wallace on the outside. And Bubba Wallace gave a bump and run to Denny Hamlin going into turn number 3 and was able to clear for the race lead. Then we kept going for a long time. Bubba Wallace had the lead, had a hard charge. I think it was Martin Truex Jr. who was catching, but traffic came into play and became a factor. And then about 3 laps before the end of the first half of the race, Denny Hamlin spun from 12th position, bringing out the caution once again. And then we go back racing with 2 laps to go in the heat with in the main race with Bubba Wallace leading the field from the inside with Austin Dillon on the outside. And Bubba Wallace was able to hold him off to the caution break and would lead on the restart. After the halftime show with that Wiz Khalifa reform, which is very interesting, we got back going on lap 76 of Bubba Wallace leading the field from the inside with Austin Dillon on the outside. A lot of chaos basically started happening on the restart. Bubba Wallace actually got the lead. There was contact between Martin Truex Jr., Bubba Wallace, and Austin Dillon. And then basically we saw Ty Gibbs spin in turn number 2 after contact from his teammate, Denny Hamlin, bringing out the caution. We go back racing once again. Bubba Wallace leading the field from the inside with Martin Truex Jr. on the outside. And we basically saw them try to make another dive bomb. And then the next lap, we had another caution for Kevin Harvick, who spun in turn 4 after contact from Todd Gilliland. And we go back racing once again with Bubba Wallace leading the field from the inside with Austin Dillon on the outside and Bubba Wallace able to clear for the race lead. And then once again, another caution come out for Christopher Bell, who actually got into Michael McDowell, and we had other drivers like Denny Hamlin and Ty Gibbs get involved in the wreck. Meanwhile, Ryan Preece is all of a sudden driving up to the front. It became a factor. Then we go green once again, Bubba Wallace leading the field from the inside, and then another caution would come out for basically Todd Gilliland spinning in turn number 1. Then we go back green once again, Bubba Wallace leading the field from the inside, Ryan Preece on the outside, and Ryan Preece got a fantastic restart and was able to clear for the lead. And then a few laps later, another caution came out. This is going to be a pretty big trend throughout this. So we got back racing once again, Ryan Preece leading the field from the inside with Alex Bowman on the outside, and Bubba Wallace up in 3rd. Then in turn number 4, Joe Logano spun Kyle Busch, sending it, dive bombing into turn 3, spinning Kyle Busch, bringing out the caution once again. Then we go back racing once again, back to green with Ryan Preece getting the race lead. We actually stayed green for a very long time, Ryan Preece holding the lead. And then Tyler Reddick, about 20 laps later, ended up spinning out Justin Haley, bringing out the caution. Went back green with 43 laps to go. Ryan Preece with the lead on the inside, Alex Bowman on the outside, and we saw Preece get the lead. Then another caution came out for Chase Briscoe, who spun out after contact with Noah Gragson. Then we went back green with 41 laps to go. Ryan Preece got the lead once again. And then basically Ryan Blaney spun in turn number 2 off of contact once again. Then we had a couple of other drivers like Tyler Reddick and Ross Chastain involved. Then on lap 114, Ryan Preece got the lead from the inside with Alex Bowman on the outside. And Ryan Preece able to hold the lead and actually started pulling away. Then with 25 laps to go, we saw Martin Truex Jr. pass Ryan Preece, who had a really strong car throughout the weekend. He was able to get the lead from Ryan Preece. Then we had some contact about 20 laps ago. Austin got him back at Ryan Preece, and Ryan Preece started complaining about electrical problems. And then a lot of drivers started having fuel issues. That's where we had the caution for Michael McDowell with 11 laps to go due to fuel pressure situations. Both drivers, a couple guys like Michael McDowell, Todd Gilliland, went to the garage with fuel problems. Then we went back green with Martin Truex Jr. basically leading the field on the inside with Bubba Wallace on the outside, and we saw Martin Truex Jr. get the lead. Then we had tempers flaring between Austin Dillon and Bubba Wallace. Contact basically going into turn number 1. They basically got into each other multiple times, and Bubba Wallace spun out after Austin Dillon intentionally dumped him, bringing out the caution. Then we went back green with 7 laps to go, and Martin Truex Jr. lead the field from the inside with Kyle Busch on the outside, and Martin Truex Jr. was able to clear for the lead. And coming off the final corner, Martin Truex Jr. pulls away from the rest of the field and goes on to win the 2023 Busch Light Clash. Major congratulations to Martin Truex Jr. winning the 2nd edition of the Busch Light Clash in the LA Coliseum. Martin Truex Jr. definitely deserves a win in my opinion. He had the fastest car throughout the weekend for sure. Really fast throughout the weekend, was fast in practice, really fast in the race, won his heat. Kind of fell back on the restarts a little bit, but the longer we got in and the longer runs we have, the better he was. So he absolutely deserves a win, in my opinion. Fastest car all weekend. Congratulations to Martin Truex Jr. So now we're going to go look at the results, and I'll give you my scoring thoughts on today's race. So an event as well. So Martin Truex Jr. picks up the victory. Austin Dillon finishes second. Despite the issues he had with Bubba Wallace, ran top 5 all night. He was actually the better RCR car, which is kind of surprising. I didn't think that was going to be the case. But Austin Dillon had a really strong run today. He finishes second. Kyle Busch, in his first running with Rich Schultz Racing, got spun out at one point and bounced back to get a podium and actually get a bronze medal. So great comeback from Kyle Busch. I'm really excited for this year for Kyle. Didn't seem like the car was that great. It seemed like it was very difficult to pass, and Kyle just could not. They made a lot of bad choices when it came to where they restarted, but a third-place run regardless. Great run from Kyle Busch. Alex Bowman finishes fourth. Bowman generally ran top 5 pretty much all day, evening long in the class, so he absolutely deserves this fourth-place finish. Kyle Larson finishes 5th. Great comeback for Kyle Larson. He was kind of quiet most of the weekend. Ran like 15th to 20th early. Started really kind of slowing, driving through the field, and gets a top 5 finish. Great run from Kyle Larson. Tyler Reddick finishes 6th. Good run from Reddick. Reddick was quiet most of the evening until the second half. He started showing up and had a lot of good pace and speed. He finishes 6th. Ryan Preece finished the 7th. Tough break that Ryan Preece didn't win. I think Ryan Preece had a car that could have won this race. Unfortunately, though, his car had some electrical problems. They got those fixed and resolved, but a 7th-place run for Ryan Preece. I'm excited for Ryan Preece going in this year. 7th place for Ryan Preece is pretty good. Ross Chastain finishes 8th. He had contact with Denny Hamlin and tempers flared between those two drivers. He finishes 8th. Denny Hamlin finishes 9th. Was good early in the race. Fell back. The car just completely fell off the cliff. He finishes 9th. And William Byron rounds at the top 10 with the 10th place run. Ran top 5 a lot of the event, kind of fell back in the second half, but 10th place is not bad, all things considered. Justin Haley, I thought was going to be a threat tonight. He finishes 11th. Kind of disappointing considering he was really good at this event last year and actually thought he was going to be a threat to win. 11th place, though, is not terrible. Hopefully they can have a better run at the Daytona 500 because he could be a threat there. Kevin Harvick finishes 12th. Harvick got into everybody, it seemed like, but he still finished 12th. He confirmed something. He'll be in the Fox Sports booth next year, by the way, on a full-time basis. But Kevin Harvick finishes 12th. Christopher Bell, I thought was going to be a threat tonight. He struggled all day long and all evening long. He finishes in 13th. Noah Gragson ran top 10 quite a bit of this event. He fell back to finish 14th, but 14th is not that bad regardless for his first run with Legacy Motor Club. Chase Briscoe, who I thought was going to be more of a threat, he finishes in 15th. Joey Logano, who I thought would be a threat, struggled all night and struggled all weekend. He finishes 16th. Ryan Blaney finishes in 17th. Eric Almirola, who was a threat early, fell all the way back and finished in 18th. Tough break there. Daniel Suarez finishes in 19th. AJ Allmendinger, who had like 2 or 3 incidents in the race, he finishes 20th. Chase Elliott finished 21st. He was terrible this weekend. Really had no pace and speed. Didn't get up to the front. Terrible weekend for Chase Elliott. Bubba Wallace finishes 22nd. Despite the issues with Austin Dillon, I think Bubba Wallace had a top 2 or top 3 car tonight. And I know he didn't finish where he probably should have, but if he's as good as he was tonight all year long, which if they can start the year off the way they started tonight, I know they didn't finish as good as they could have, but finishing 22nd, all things considered, that's not the end of the world. They can definitely work on that, and this is definitely a much better start. They were fast tonight. They were not slow tonight. Hopefully this means that there's some good signs. I know 22nd isn't a good finish, but I think Bubba Wallace will be a threat. Todd Gillen finished 23rd after field problems. Michael McDowell finishes 24th. Austin Hendrick after engine issues finishes 25th. Ty Gibbs after suspension problems finished 26th. And Eric Jones finishes last in 27th. So now, let's go talk about the whole event as well. And give my score on tonight's race as well. First, let's talk about the racing itself. The racing itself, despite there being like 16 cautions in this race, which is absolutely insane, felt like a Bowman Gray race, I thought the race was actually pretty solid at points. There was good racing throughout the field. In the heat races, you had good racing in the last chance qualifier. The cautions for sure did hinder the event. I still don't believe this should be a points-paying event. But it felt like a Bowman Gray style, and it sounds like maybe the drivers had some 3 shy before getting back in the car, it seems like, because they were driving like maniacs in the second half. Because in the first half of the event, there was clean racing and good racing throughout the field. Unfortunately, the drivers drove like maniacs in the second half, and it turned to a very chaotic event overall. When you take away all the caution stuff, it was definitely a somewhat enjoyable race. I don't think this should be a points-paying race next year. I know there's talk about that and conversation about that being next year with Auto Club and that being confirmed. I will give this race, and so now talking about the race, I'll give you my score for tonight's race. I'm going to give it overall a 7.5. I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10. It would have been an 8 or 9 out of 10 if not for all the cautions, because the racing in general was pretty solid. Now let's talk about the event overall in the second running of the Busch Light Clash. I didn't think the Cypress Hill concert was absolutely killer. I thought it was okay, and they did as good as they could. Unfortunately, the crowd was not popping, and it was not bopping with the crowd. It was not bopping. We got to the Wiz Khalifa and basically said he was going to be smoking tonight in his pre-race interview. Wiz Khalifa, I think, did actually a really, really good job tonight. I thought he did a very solid job overall. Crowd looked very, very solid. Overall, the event itself, I'll give it about a 7.5 out of 10. I think last event wasn't as good as this year's event. There's definitely things, if they're going to bring this back next year, that they have to work on. I thought the event was solid, but it wasn't spectacular. So, that is going to be from the Busch Light Clash race review from the LA Coliseum. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so you're notified when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Links go below over that, and comment below your thoughts below on tonight's race. What are thoughts on today's race? Let me know below. Let me know your score in the comments below, and congratulate Mark Truex Jr. on picking up the victory. Let me know in the comments below. Tomorrow on my channel, we're going to have a NASCAR news video because we got a ton of NASCAR stories discussed tomorrow on the channel. Tuesday, I'm not sure what's going to be on the channel. There might be more NASCAR news of how much news is being released. I might split up the stories from this weekend in half just because there's been so much stuff from this weekend. Wednesday's going to be their NASCAR news video. Thursday, we'll have to wait and see as we get close to the start of the week. And also on my second channel, I got Super Bowl picks dropping either Monday or Tuesday. Make sure to watch it. And also, I'm going to be starting to do some race talk on starting not this upcoming Tuesday, but not this Tuesday, but the Tuesday after that, there'll be race talk. So anyway, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for some more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.